All right. So, hello, everybody. I'd like to thank you for coming out today. Want to invite you to join the community. Want to send a big thanks to ISF Advisors for inviting me out. Sam, thank you so much. My name is Terrell Wilbo. I'm a certified crypto educator. I received my certification from the University of Nicosia in Cyprus, Greece. In 2018, I got certified in digital currency, blockchain technology, Ethereum, and Ethereum smart contracts. It was just one of those things that I actually was introduced to it by my mentor, and we came through a a multi-level marketing company, and that was my first experience with crypto. So I was a part of the 2017 bull run. I saw crypto go from $1,400 where I bought my first all the way up to 20 grand, and all the way back down to seven. But it made me realize is that this is a real asset class, and I just decided to learn as much as I could, educate myself as much as I could, and try to help other people as much as I could to really understand what this market is and where it's going. So in these courses, like again, we'll do weekly training. So if you come on and you join the community, we're going to be doing weekly trainings once a week, every Wednesday, same time, same place, and we'll go over the history of money. Because like I said, I believe we have to understand where we came from to understand where we're going. Um, Crypto and the blockchain. We'll look at who are the big players in the game because again, success leaves clues. And what I teach and what I try to get people to understand is the mindset behind this thing is that all we're doing is following the money. If we understand how big financial institutions run their business, then we can run our investing business just like that as well. Because that if you're investing and you're getting crypto or stocks or whatever the case is, you need to be looking at that like a business because that's what it is, because that's how they look at it. And then we'll go over market analysis. I want to teach you how to identify opportunities in the market, not just look at a Twitter or a Telegram and get caught in on buying a coin just because somebody says so or an influencer says so. Not even me. I want you to be able to analyze for yourself and say, this is the reason why this is a good investment for me. Okay. And then we'll look at DeFi, NFTs, and the metaverse. Metaverse has been touted as being $1 trillion opportunity. So it's something that we need to understand the benefits of owning crypto. So again, you have other assets like if you have $100,000 in the bank account and you have crypto, well, that money sitting in the bank is actually costing you money while crypto is appreciating in value. So knowing the difference between all of those, the top opportunities in crypto, we'll look at some of those every week. We'll have new projects coming to the table where you'll be able to analyze, and I always put you on the best and the brightest that I do my research on first. And then we'll go over crypto definitions because you have to know the lingo. A lot of times people are turned off by the crypto conversation because they don't understand the lingo, they don't understand the wording, so this course will definitely help you get that vocabulary. It'll definitely help you get a better idea of what's going on, and so you can have those conversations and not feel like it's going over your head. And then we do market analysis, doing the math. Doing the math is basically just showing you, oh, if I pick this particular coin based on what the price is currently, based on what the projected high is, what does this look like for me? So we'll go through that and we'll analyze each coin based on your investment budget. We'll do the wallet and exchange setup. So I'll take you through that whole process of how to set up your wallets, how to make a transaction, how to go to an exchange and buy different coins, how to buy and trade. We'll go through all that. Asset security, because that's one of the most important things, because now we are our own bank. There's no customer service that you can call when you're dealing with crypto. If you're not certain on what you're doing and you send it to the wrong address or whatever the case is, that can be gone forever. So we want to make sure we institute best practices when we're doing and using crypto. So we'll go over that. Taxes and regulations. Very important. So we want to understand what the landscape is and how that affects our money, because if I make a lot of money in crypto, but I don't do the right thing when it comes to taxes or regulations, then I can lose that money. So we want to make sure that we're in the right position to do that. And then crypto resources and links, I'll give you all the resources that I use myself and just basically teach you how to research, and find the information that you need. And then and for everybody who signs up, there's a bonus ebook, Crypto Lingo. Again, that'll give you a list of the definitions. You will have that. You could always refer back to it. And then also in that book, I highlight 3 projects that I call them my power picks for 2022 that you will also get as well. So that's what the course will be, and that's what we'll cover. So again, we'll talk about the barter system, because again, we got to understand where we came from and where we're going. So if we look at in the 19,000 BC, we started with the barter system. We even traded shells as a form of currency. Then we moved to minted coins. And then what most people know and understand is the gold standard. We were on the gold standard till about 1931, when in the United States, we had a meeting called the Bretton Woods meeting, where they decided to come off the gold standard. Because a lot of people's argument again with cryptocurrency is it's not backed by anything. Well, most people don't know or don't understand that the United States dollar is not backed by anything either. It's not backed by gold anymore, right? So that's why they're able to print as much as they want. And every time they print a dollar, that decreases the value of the dollar that you're going to work for every day, right? So in 1971, we entered into the fiat system, which we're currently in now. That's again not backed by anything, and it gives the government and the central banks the ability to print as much money as they want. Therefore debasing our currency. And then in 2008, I'm sure everybody is aware of what happened in 2008, the big crash of 2008. And then in 2009, we had Bitcoin, and cryptocurrency came into existence. And it was a direct response to the too big to fail with the banks and the bailouts and all of the overspending. That's what Bitcoin basically came to existence to address. So this is a quick video to show you, again, our current fiat system that most people are not even aware of, okay?
That brought me to this point, about how I learned to anticipate the future by studying the past. In 1971, when I was a young clerk on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, the United States ran out of money and defaulted on its debts. That's right, the U.S. ran out of money. How? Well, back then, gold was the money used in transactions between countries. Paper money, like the dollar, was like checks in a checkbook in that it had no value other than it could be exchanged for gold, which was the real money. At the time, the United States was spending a lot more money than it was earning by writing a lot more of these paper money checks than it had gold in the bank to exchange for them. As people turned these checks into the bank for gold money, the amount of gold in the U.S. started to dwindle. It soon became obvious that the U.S. couldn't keep its promises for all the existing paper money, so people holding dollars rushed to exchange them before the gold ran out. Recognizing that the U.S. was going to run out of real money, on Sunday evening, August 15th, President Nixon went on television to tell the world that the U.S. was breaking its promise to let people exchange their dollars for gold. Of course, he didn't say it that way. He said it more diplomatically, without making it clear that the United States was defaulting.
The strength of a nation's currency is based on the strength of that nation's economy. And the American economy is by far the strongest in the world. Accordingly, I have directed the Secretary of the Treasury to take the action necessary to defend the dollar against the speculators. I have directed Secretary Connally to suspend temporarily the convertibility of the dollar into gold or other reserve assets, except in amounts and conditions determined to be in the interest of monetary stability and in the best interest of the United States.
I watched in awe, realizing that money as we understood it was ending.
So that is the truth, and that is what the current system that we're in. Most people are not even aware that even happens, right? And I think it's very important, again, to understand where we came from and where we're going. So again, now enter cryptocurrency. So what is cryptocurrency? Crypto is a digital currency in which transactions are verified and recorded and records maintained on a decentralized system using cryptography rather than by central authorities. Decentralized cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin now provide an outlet for personal wealth that is beyond restriction and confiscation. This is very important from the standpoint. So two things that we want to look at. We look at decentralization or decentralized. What that basically means, there is no third party. We're able to transact peer to peer. So if I want to send Sam $100 in Bitcoin, I can do that, and I don't need a bank to do so. So that's what cryptocurrency, and just to put it simply, cryptocurrency is just basically a digital form of money, right? That's all it is. So if you look at how Bitcoin works, so Bitcoin basically you download a software on your phone or your computer. That software will generate an address. That address is basically kin to your bank account number. So now you have a bank account number. And then now that you have that bank account number, you can either buy cryptocurrency and add to your account or wallet, or you can have somebody send you in Bitcoin or whatever cryptocurrency there is. And then the Bitcoin network verifies that transaction. And then now all of those coins are in your wallet. And from that point, you can either buy things with cryptocurrency or you can send it to other people from your wallet. Right? And then blockchain. Blockchain technology is a system of recording information in a way that makes it difficult or impossible to change, hack, or cheat the system. Each block in the chain contains a number of transactions, and every time a new transaction occurs on the blockchains, a record of that transaction is added to every participant's ledger. So think of blockchain as the internet, and cryptocurrencies are the websites that run on top of the internet. Okay, blockchain is one of the most revolutionary technologies that we have. It can't be changed, it can't be manipulated, and it's open source and it's open to the public. It's just like having so think of your bank account, all the transactions you make in a month. It details each transaction that you make in a month. That's the same thing, a blockchain. It's an open ledger that shows every transaction that's ever been created, and you can't change it and you can't go back and manipulate it. So that's what makes blockchain so powerful. So how it works is a transaction is authenticated or requested. A block representing that transaction is then created, and then the block is then sent to every participant, every node in the network. So these are just a bunch of computers around the world that everybody has a copy of all the transactions that's ever happened on the network, okay? And then once that node is then that node is then verified. So basically everybody has to agree. It's called a consensus mechanism, but everybody has to agree that this is a legitimate transaction. And once that happens, the nodes, the computers that verifies the transaction, then they're then rewarding, right? So good behavior is rewarded in this system. Like, it's not like our current banking system where you have places like Wells Fargo and that make fake loans and all these other things, and they do bad loans, and then they default, and then the bank and then the government comes and bails them out. That's not good behavior, but they're being rewarded for bad behavior. Well, in blockchain, we're rewarded for good behavior, and that's the difference. And then the block, then that block, once it's verified, is then added to the previous block, and then the updated basically an updated ledger of the new transactions is then broadcasted to the entire network, so everybody has it, and then that transaction is complete. So that's a kind of a run of how blockchain works and how a transaction is created inside of the blockchain. And then in this course, we'll look at all of the top cryptos. We'll do all of our analysis. Of course, we've heard of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Doge, some of the other ones, and we'll get into right now. It's over 19,000 coins in the crypto ecosystem. So how do you pick the right coins? That's a big thing, right? How do I know this is the right one for me? And that's what we're going to teach in this course. And then also you'll get an understanding of what the Bitcoin halving is. So the question that was asked earlier, what makes Bitcoin valuable, right? Well, one of the things that makes Bitcoin valuable is that there's only 21 million Bitcoin that'll ever be mined, right? So unlike the US dollar where you can just print as much as you want, there's a finite amount of Bitcoin that'll ever be put into circulation. So we have a fixed number on that. So what you're seeing is that over time, the supply is getting smaller and smaller, but the demand is getting larger and larger because you're seeing mass adoption happen all around the world, right? So what happens when you have a smaller supply but a larger demand? That's how the value continues to grow. So that's one of the things that makes Bitcoin very valuable, and we'll go into so much more once we get into our sessions. And so also, if you want to look at it from the standpoint of, most people say, well, Bitcoin is 30,000, I'm late, I got into Bitcoin late, or whatever the case is. I want to give you a perspective on how early we are in Bitcoin, right? Because if we're buying Bitcoin at $30,000 currently, when Bitcoin hits $10 million, are we buying it at a good spot right now, or where we are in the cycle of Bitcoin? So we'll look at this video really quick.
Stock to flow ratios that we look at, one is using dollars and the other one's using gold as the monetary unit. So the one using dollars, and if you're not familiar with stock to flow, you just Google Plan B or 100 trillion USD, and you'll come up with Plan B's website, and you can read through his methodology on how to, the stock to flow model is built. But this model is 95% correlated to the historical price of Bitcoin. So this one's very accurate too.
So we're looking first here at the dollar-denominated stock-to-flow model, and again, semi-log y, logarithmic scale on the y-axis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So on the stock-to-flow model with Plan B, basically stock-to-flow models are used to value commodities like gold, diamonds, silver, platinum, palladium. And so if you throw Bitcoin into this valuation method, basically what it shows is that gold is the scarcest asset on Earth today. It has a stock to flow ratio of 60-1. So the stock is the amount of gold that's ever been mined, that's above ground, that's being stored. And the flow is the amount of new gold that gets mined every year. So it's a 60-1 ratio. Bitcoin's stock to flow ratio is 45-1. And so gold is scarcer than Bitcoin because it's 60-1 divided by is more scarce than 45-1. But after the next halving, Bitcoin halving in 2024, Bitcoin's stock to flow ratio goes to 90-1. And so Bitcoin becomes the scarcest asset on Earth in 2024. And so if you look at the total value of gold today, it's worth about 10 trillion. And the total value of Bitcoin is a little bit more than 1 trillion. And if you think about it, if Bitcoin becomes the scarcest asset on Earth in 2024, it should be worth more than gold. So to me, that means that Bitcoin should be worth more than $10 trillion in 2024. And that's what this model shows. It just shows it in like a graphical format with dollars. So what this shows is that at the end of this year, Bitcoin should be worth about $100,000. At the end of 2025, it should be worth about $1 million. And in the 2029 shows that one Bitcoin should be worth about $10 million. And this model is 95% correlated to the historical price of Bitcoin over the past 12 years.
So as you can see, like these, that's why when people talk about why is Bitcoin valuable, all of this is based on mathematical equations. It's not like a guess or estimate or any of these things. Like because of the Bitcoin protocol of having a fixed amount, knowing what that fixed amount is, and then the decrease in the supply, but the increase in demand, that's basically showing you how and why Bitcoin will be worth what he's saying it's worth. So if you think about 2029, we're 7 years away from Bitcoin being worth $10 million for one. So again, you got to ask yourself at this point in time, are you in early or are you in late? Right? So that's one of the things, and we'll discover and talk about those as we go. So another thing we like to look at is the Bitcoin volatility versus the US inflation, because again, that's another argument people have where Bitcoin is so volatile, it goes up, it has swings. But if you look at the stats, at the beginning of 2021, Bitcoin was up 305%. In the last 6 months, it's down 40%, right? So most people will choose to focus on the 40% that is down, not the fact that it's still up 260%, right? So everything is about perspective. But if we look at the US dollar from the 1900s, all the way from the 1900s, everything that, again, when we talk about the Federal Reserve, the World War I, the crash of 1920, the Depression, all of these times that you have these events that went on in our economy, they had to print more money. They had to print more money every time. So right now, currently, I think the statistic is that for every dollar, it's worth about 45 cents. So for every dollar you have, it's worth about 45 cents because they're debasing the value of the dollar so much. So when we're looking at gas prices rise, and I go to the grocery store and chicken is $20 and all that, it's not because it's costing more for chicken. That's not why. It's because we're losing the buying power in our dollar because of all the money printing of our currency. So that's something to understand and really, really, really understand what's happening to the dollar and what's happening to your wealth, right? And then also, if you look at inflation right now at about 8%, if you're saving, that's why I say if you have your money in a savings account, year over year, you're losing 8% of your wealth by just sitting your money in the bank. So that's why Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is important, because your money needs to be working for you. If it's not working for you, then you're losing money. Okay. So in comparison to Bitcoin, if you would have been invested $100 in 2009 when Bitcoin was 0.003, that was 13 years ago. Excuse me, in 2027, when we saw a $20,000 Bitcoin, that $100 would be worth $633 million. In 2021, when we saw $60,000 Bitcoin, that $100 would be worth $2.1 billion. That's a 2 billion% return on investment. No other asset class has ever performed in Bitcoin like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has in a very relatively short period of time. So that's the comparison. So we see the US dollar going down and depreciating, and we're seeing Bitcoin in 13 years going way up to the right. And that's, in any asset that you're looking at, that's the projection that you want to see. You want to see up and to the right, not down and to the left. Okay. So some of the public companies, some of the largest public companies that are involved in cryptocurrency right now, MicroStrategy is one of the largest. They took all of their reserve capital on their balance sheet and put it into Bitcoin. So they're one of the largest. Of course, Tesla. Tesla has made more money in Bitcoin than selling cars. So that's a testament to what Bitcoin does for these different companies. And then you have Galaxy Digital, you have MassMutual, one of the oldest insurance companies in the world, Marathon, Square, which is Cash App, they're part of it, Hunt, Voyager, Riot, and Coin Citadel. And these are just some of the publicly traded companies. This doesn't include a lot of the private companies that are also involved in the Bitcoin, right? And like I always say, we just follow the money. Because if it's good enough for these companies that's spending billions and billions of dollars on crypto, it's good enough for our thousands or 100,000s or whatever we may have, right? So we just want to follow the money. And if you look at, we talked about the metaverse. So the economy 3.0, metaverse will create millions of jobs. So we understand after COVID hit, a lot of people were working remotely. So, but in the metaverse and in Web3, you'll be able to be at home, but still feel like you're in the office with these metaverse, put on your Oculus glasses or whatever the case is, and able to have meeting and be just like you in face to face with somebody. And then JP Morgan says crypto is real estate as preferred. It trumps real estate as its preferred alternative asset class. So Bitcoin is now preferred more than real estate. So you got to understand, like, this is not Terrell saying this. These are experts. These are industry leaders. These are some of the largest financial institutions in the world are saying this about crypto and Bitcoin. So we just have to be paying attention and watching the moves of everybody else. So again, I just want to invite everybody out to join the community. It is $97 a month. We have weekly trainings. You'll get the crypto basics to advanced, and then coin analysis, and then Q&A questions and more. We'll do so much more in that. So definitely want to be a part of that. You can find me on Instagram on Crypto Bilbo 1. You can follow me there. And then also my website, cryptobilbo.com. You can go there and you can find me there as well. And then again, for those who sign up, they get the ebook, the top 40 crypto terms that you need to know and understand, and then my crypto power picks for 2022 as well. So that is our presentation for today. So I will open it up for any questions if you have any at this time. Mr. GD, did you have any questions?
Yeah. So quick question there. Is crypto FDIC insured?
No.
Due
Now
to the decentralization, right?
Yeah, it's decentral, but they banks are now. Yeah, I can hear you. Banks are now applying to
I think your system froze out there.
Can you hear me?
I see no problem.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so there are insurances on crypto, but banks are now applying to have custody of your cryptocurrency. So the banks that are chartered banks are now able to have custody. So when they do have custody of your crypto, then the same rules apply as far as 250,000 FDI insured on that particular amount. But like I said, for me, giving my crypto to a bank that's going to do the same thing they do with our deposits and go make money and then pay us 0.00 nothing on our savings account, on our money market accounts, or whatever the case may be, that's not the best scenario for you. With decentralization, with DeFi, with this decentralized finance, you're able to take that same crypto, put it in your wallet, and earn interest. And I can show you some of them where you can earn at a minimum 60% per year on your money. And that's a passive investment by just holding the crypto in a wallet.
So if I want to buy a house, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I use crypto to pay for that house?
Absolutely. I'm actually teaching a course on that. Me and my business partner, that's my first career. I have 18 years in real estate. I ran a mortgage company, so that was my first career. I'm 7 years in crypto, so both of those together, that's like my sweet spot. But there's a company called Milo Invest that allow you to leverage your cryptocurrency to actually get a 30-year mortgage at rates around 3.5 to 5%.
Milo, like M-Y-L-O?
M-I-L-O, Milo.
Oh.
Milo Invest. It's a company out of Florida, but yeah, you can definitely use your cryptocurrency and what it does too, it benefits you in two ways, because like say if I have cryptocurrency, I made gains in cryptocurrency, and in order to use the fiat or to buy something, I would have to cash out to then go use fiat to buy it. Well, you have a capital gains obligation, a tax on that when you do it that way. But this particular company allows you to leverage your cryptocurrency for your loan without having to sell it. So they keep it in custody, but you don't have to sell it. So you still have your underlying asset, plus you get a real estate asset. So you're able to get the appreciation on the crypto as well as the appreciation on the real estate without paying the tax burden. So that's another thing we teach in our courses.
So with the high fluctuation rates in cryptocurrency, just like, you know, in the banking system, there's a possibility, I'm not saying it's a sure possibility, but there's a possibility you could lose the entire value of your crypto investment, correct?
It's always a possibility. You know, it's a possibility that the market will crash tomorrow and we'll lose everything that's in bonds, stocks, treasuries, all that. It's happened before. So it's always a possibility.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm trying to hedge my bets. As you can see, I'm kind of thinking through what we know today versus what is coming anew. And those who are able to catch what's coming anew ahead of time, you know, the early bird.
Yeah, and like we talked about, perspective again, because again, over this past year, cryptocurrency was up again 305%. Now it did drop 40%. But again, if you look at it from the overall perspective, it's still up 260%. So,
over what period of time?
Over since I say around 2021 to now.
Oh, okay.
So if you just look at it, and then over time, over the life of cryptocurrency, I don't know the exact number, but you know, you just think about something that went from, you know, 0.003, less than a penny, and right now it's sitting at 30,000. You know, how many percentage gain is that right now? And again, Bitcoin is just, again, we think about Bitcoin as digital gold. Like that's what you want to, most of these, that's what you want to have your reserve currency in. You know, that's your store of wealth, store of value. These other coins, these other technologies that are out there that we'll discuss is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. Like I'll give you one right now called Algo. Algo is at 40 cents right now. Algo is getting ready to onboard all of the central banks to form their own digital currency, and then other payment processors and stuff like that are building their systems on top of Algo. Algo is 40 cents right now. The all-time high for Algo has been $3.28. So just from that, just from buying at 40 cents, think of it just like you were buying a share, or I always look at it like if I was buying a house. If I was buying a house, the comps in the area are 100,000. I can get this house for 30,000. I know I got $70,000 of equity in my property. It's the same thing with this. The top comp on Algo is $3.28. You can get it for 40 cents right now. So those are the type of things that we look at. That what price are we buying at? What is the technology behind it? What is the use case, and what is the team? And once we understand those things about a project, then that's when we get in, and that's when we invest.
So if you want to buy cryptocurrency, being a first-time buyer, of course, you don't have any cryptocurrency to buy. What do you buy? Mm-hmm. $1?
Yeah, you can buy with a credit card. You can buy with a credit card.
Okay, so you're basically exchanging dollar for the digital currency.
Exactly.
Well, it sounds interesting, and I'd like to know more about it. Are there any other folk on here? Yeah, eventually. I mean, forecast, let's give it 10, 20 years from now, is basically going to eat away paper dollar and become a crypto dollar, right? And the same old people, and I'm not denigrating it, right? Because we work with people who, as far as I know, are kind of forward thinking and kind of trappy by nature, right? They'll find a way, institute some laws, and then suck in crypto becomes the main thing, and then they take paper dollar. Just like, you know, digitally, you get paid today, it goes to the bank. When you go to buy something, you just use your debit or credit card. You never see that paper money, right? But it's the digital, you know, agreed value system that kind of, suffices for buyer, trading partners, right? So but if you want your money, you could go to the bank and take the paper money out, right?
Mhm.
So it's just a representation form. But the key, which is what I'm looking at right now, the key is those people who are able to see the value in it before it crests up and are able to catch it and be able to make something out of it before when these people start taking over the system again and pulling it under the federal government and changing everything to become like the control system we have going on.
Mhm.
It's going to happen. But if you do it quickly and get something out of it, at that point, you can decide to pull out and still have your value taken out of it, right? That's kind of how I see it. How do you see it?
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Because I think the opportunity that's in front of us, we've never had this opportunity before, right? Because think of all of these coins as technology. That's all it is. It's technology. So if you were able to buy Apple, you were able to buy Facebook, if you were able to buy any of these Yahoo, any of these things before they really blew up, then where would you be right now? And basically, that's what's happening when you talk about a Cardano, you talk about XRP, you talk about Algo. These are all technology. So you're just buying shares of it. And yes, the governments are going to adopt this technology because they can't rule it out. They can't outlaw it. They have to use it. Everything is coming to the blockchain. So a lot of things that I focus on is the infrastructure of things. Like what are you going to need to make these things happen? Whether it be payments, whether it be mortgages, whether it be government documents, whatever it is, like what platforms, what technology are they building on? And then now we don't have to be consumers of the technology. We can actually be owners of the technology.
Owners. There you go. There you go. There you
Yes,
go.
sir.
I like the way you think.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's a fascinating thing. I mean, I've gotten quite a bit out of it because my mind is now reorienting into the phase of understanding instead of from the phase of confusion, right?
Right.
Yeah. So you're basically buying advanced technology that is only known to be advanced to a few at this point. Once people catch up, and if you know the dynamics between demand and supply, by that time, supply is going down, demand is going high, it's going to kick the price higher. And then the difference between your investment and the value at that point, becomes your takeaway, your money in the bank.
Absolutely.
Got it. Yeah, I'll link up with you, and then you have these classes going on, and it takes what, $97?
Yeah, this is a subscription, a monthly subscription. But if you want to take either the basic class or the 2-day boot camp or individual course, a one-on-one session, you can go to my website and then we can book that as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it sounds interesting, but I'm beginning to understand it better now. Like in this current world, you have actual infrastructure that in most cases you can see buildings, physical, tangible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of this is still somehow physical, but a greater percentage of it is in the digital world.
Right. And that's another thing we'll get into is physical real estate. I mean, digital real estate and selling digital real estate. Me and my partner, we're actually we put together a certification for real estate professionals to get a crypto certification as well. And then also, I was just telling Sam, teaching tokenization of assets, because now you don't have to go to your traditional lenders. You can tokenize your project and have basically people around the world participate in that project through NFTs and different things like that, and they share in the profit. So I mean, it's so many opportunities because I've been in finance my whole life. I've been in construction. I've been in real estate. I understand a lot about how this works. So I view this market and what's going on a lot differently because I have a different perspective because I've done it from every level. So it's really exciting about what's really going on right now.